That thing on? Welcome to another edition of Backwoods Restoration. I'm Mike, and this is my lovely assistant, Barb. And we've been resurrecting some old rigs. We've been doing some work on some stuff. We got some footage of getting her 66 Ford, getting it home, doing some front end work on it and stuff. And she's been after me for a while now because this old truck has just been sitting in the yard, and she's like, that thing's just too cool to sit around, so let's get it going. And I said, okay, I got a deal for you. She's gonna get it going. Okay, what we're working on today is a 1947 Ford pickup. This has a flathead Ford V8 in it, and I'll tell you guys a little story about that. But first, I'm going to tell you a story about the truck. This truck has a pretty rich history. It was originally purchased by the state of Montana, and it served its first years of duty on the prison ranch in Deer Lodge, Montana, where it sustained some front end damage and they blew up the engine. I don't know what happened, but it could be my thought that I think it'd be kind of cool is somebody tried to use it in a prison break and blew it up, but I can't verify that. Anyway, I found this truck when I was in high school, and I kept asking the guy to sell it to me. He wouldn't sell it to me. His name was Ken, and his wife Diane, her dad bought this truck at an auction from the prison farm in 1952. In 1952, he bought it. He went to the junkyard, got a junkyard engine to put in it. They fixed the front end damage. I don't know if you guys can see. There's some Bondo and stuff in it. Some of the grill bars are bent. I guess it was caved in pretty far. Anyway, they fixed that, and he drove it for quite a few years. When Diane got her driver's license, he gave it to her. When Ken and Diane got married, she was still driving it, and this was their only vehicle for a while, and the engine quit. It wore out. So they were living in Great Falls at the time, and a guy by the name of Arlen built flathead V8s for race purpose, and he built them an engine for this. This is a 53 239 block. It has a Scat 4 1/4 inch stroke crank in it. It's got Scat rods, an Iski 3/4 cam, and a set of, you can't even really see, maybe on the other one we can, a set of Mercury heads. This engine was done, yeah, you can kind of see the Mercury right here. This engine was built in 1967. About 15 years ago, I finally got this from Ken. It didn't take me a whole lot to get it running. I drove it as a daily driver for quite a while. The little engine ran really good, and I did a little drag racing with it. It was kind of a sleeper. It'll do 100 miles an hour. It does consistent 80s in the quarter and the 15-second range. Someday I've got some more vintage speed parts that I'm going to add into it, but this is what we're going to be working on today. And the reason that I parked this truck, let's see, when did I park this? I think it was in 12. Yeah, June of 12. I broke the transmission. It took me a while to source another one. I have one now that I can make a good transmission for this truck with. But the first step is we're gonna see if we can get this thing fired up. It will move and you can drive it around, but the transmission is really bad. It doesn't have really any first gear, kind of has some second gear, but third gear still works. It goes down the highway okay still. Anyway, we're gonna get things set up and we'll take you guys along with us. Okay, let's see. Well, we got an air cleaner, and there's a carburetor. Looks like it's got a generator, belts.
It's got wires.
Got spark plug wires. Where's the dipstick? See if you can find the dipstick.
It's gonna be a dipstick kind of day down there.
So far, it's looking pretty complete. Yes, found the dipstick.
Ooh. It's kind of on the black side, but it's full.
Huh.
It's full black.
It's full black. That'll work for now. I'm sure it was probably due for an oil change. So we verified that it's got oil.
Do I need to check the radiator?
Sure. Never a bad idea.
I don't know if I can get it to focus it in. Looks empty to me.
Looks empty.
But then again, we are in Montana, so you wouldn't want to leave anything really in there. It's empty.
Hello.
It
It says there's a little bit.
echo.
Okay, I remember on this truck there was a hole in the radiator, so it was back here somewhere. Yeah, it's right here. There's a crack in the radiator right here, and so if I ran this thing with the radiator cap tight, it would squirt coolant or water out of this crack onto the distributor and flood my distributor out while I was driving down the road. So I just run with the cap loose and the coolant level a little bit low. Never had an issue with this thing. Everybody says flatheads are so prone to overheating. This thing never got hot, ever. Even when we ran it really hard. Okay, so what else is missing? That thing on? So Barb did a little inspection of the head and she said probably needs a battery. So we got us a battery here. Our battery sponsor today is the Red Screamer. I don't have enough batteries to go around, so I should let you do this. Come here. Trade you. Let me take my toaster. Right on positive.
Will I get electrocuted?
Well, maybe. Probably not.
It's okay to hold this?
Yep. Just kidding.
I knew better.
Okay.
12.5 volts.
So it's got 12.5 volts. So that's a pretty good one. Flip that little lever over for a second. Ooh. Let it off. That battery is not much good.
What? Because when you went over to the thingy,
Try it again.
12 volt thing didn't.
Okay, that's better. That's good. Let go. Don't hold it on for more than a couple seconds.
Okay.
So what this is a battery load tester. So when I hooked it up, it tells us voltage. It says it's about 12 and a quarter volts. I can't get this thing to focus in. Anyway, it tells us what the voltage is, and then this lever down here puts a load on it. So this load tests the battery, so it'll watch the needle, and it doesn't move very far. So I can't quite read it in the video phone here. It's just too blurry, I can't focus in on it. Anyway, it says that we got somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000 cold cranking amps. So this battery should do to start that truck. Okay, she's got the wire brush, clean up the battery terminals. I don't have, we need to concentrate mainly on this, there you go, on the sides. And they need to be really, really, really shiny.
Oh, I guess I have to follow the wires, don't I?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay, so those need to get cleaned up on the inside.
Okay.
I wish I had a battery terminal cleaner for you.
Can I just take the sandpaper and just kind of go like that?
Yes, you can.
And then that's what I'll do?
Perfect. She's got some emery cloth here. Except for you're using that backwards.
Now I can't get it in right. Come on.
Let me show you an easier way to do that. Here. Oh, by golly.
I'm a nurse.
Here, let me hold that for you.
Thank you. I can't get it good that way.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna have to do something a little different. 'Cause that's okay, that's looking pretty good. We're gonna have to go super tight. Guess we're gonna have to take this battery back out anyway. But that'll do. Now I think we should test and see if we got power, because I remember the last time I went to move this truck, I didn't have power. So
That's an interesting.
this is just a test light. So the first thing I'm going to do is just verify that my test light's working. So I'm going to hold the clip on the negative side and touch the positive post. Oh, light lights up. Can you guys see that?
I see that.
Okay. So we'll clip this guy on here. Make sure we still got juice. Okay. Then I'm going to come here and check and see if I got it at the end of my battery cable. Looky there.
Nothing.
I got nothing. So I got nothing here. This means
The battery cable's no good.
I don't have a ground. What's going on here? My light quit working. How can that be? We're still connected there. There we go. We got juice again. I don't know what happened there.
Where you try to clip that onto? Want anything there? That'll hold it?
Okay, there we got juice there.
Oh, yeah. I saw something.
We got juice there, but I have to scrape at it quite a bit. So I think we got some corrosion. Okay, right here is the nut for the connector going in to the solenoid. I got nothing there. So we've probably got a bunch of corrosion right in here that we're gonna have to deal with. So
I'll undo that and then I scrub it.
we're gonna pull the negative cable off again. Penetrating oil on there. Hopefully we can get this off without breaking it.
How long do you have to let that stuff sit on it?
It just came right loose. It just depends on how badly rusted they are. I'm just putting some on to
Help it?
help it. Okay.
Sandpaper?
Yep.
Can I do?
Sure. Okay, what Barb's doing now is she's cleaning up the end of the battery cable that goes to the starter relay. A lot of people call those starter solenoids on these Fords. They're not a solenoid, they're a relay. They work just like a relay. I guess they kind of work like a solenoid, but not really. These old Fords don't have solenoids. They have a starter relay, and then there's a Bendix on the starter. And the Bendix can get kind of, hey, don't scratch the paint.
I'm not.
Oops, I'm sagging.
You're sagging or I'm sagging?
I'm sagging.
I feel like I'm sagging.
All the right sags in all the right places, sweetheart.
Thank you, baby.
I guess I should mention on this that I have converted this truck over to 12 volt. This came from the factory, and when I got it, it was still 6 volt positive ground. And I have changed everything over to make it a 12 volt. I just put a 12 volt generator on here. I even left the mounting ears and stuff on it. It just sits right in the cradle for the top. Wires in the same way. It came off a, I don't know, 59 Ford or something. Ford used generators up till 63. Some 64 still had generators. So for these old Fords to do a 12 volt conversion, it's pretty easy that way. Of course, new 12 volt voltage regulator. Get over here where we might be able to see it. Right down here. Okay. Right down here under this mess of wires and stuff, you can barely see it. There's a ballast resistor. Okay, a ballast resistor will drop the voltage from the 12 volts down to the, I don't know what it is, 6 volts or whatever that this system needs. I'm still running the 6 volt coil. Everybody thinks you got to put a 12 volt coil on. You don't need a 12 volt coil on a resisted system because it already resists it down. This is the 6 volt coil, and I've got 20,000 miles on this coil. Never had an issue with it. I do this all the time. I very rarely have any coil failures. The thing I've had the most failures with lately is new condensers. I've had them not work out of the box. I've had them fail in minutes. I reuse the old ones where I can. What do we got going on there? Is that looking pretty good?
I don't know.
Let's see what you got. Boy, that's pretty shiny. Yeah, I bet that'll work. Okay, now gotta clean that one up, and that's gonna be kind of hard.
Okay. Kind of greasy, huh?
That's just a tight spot to get. You're a little shorter than me, so it's easier to get to the, not leaning over quite as far. Be very careful not to break that other little wire. Someplace around here I have a little wire wheel to go on a drill. I couldn't seem to find it. That would have made this job a lot faster and easier, but we're kind of doing stuff the old school way anyway. And it's a beautiful day out today. After a long hard winter working on our blue truck and stuff, this is kind of nice to be in my t-shirt and out here watching my lovely assistant do all the work.
How's that look? Looks pretty good to me.
Can't see it. Maybe get just a little more.
A little more?
Yep. Another thing I'm going to mention is at one point we did dyno this truck. It makes around 200 horsepower, which is pretty good for a little flathead V8. This little 4-inch air filter, if I take the air filter off, I can get around 200 horsepower with it. If I put the air filter on, it's like 180. those don't breathe very good, but out here where we live, this is dusty, dirty, nasty, so I'd rather lose a little horsepower and save the engine. So I change those out as regularly as I can when I'm driving this thing, but anyway, thought I'd throw that mention at it. That looks pretty good. Okay, grab the wire brush. This old cloth wiring is getting pretty haggard in this thing. One of these days it's going to catch on fire. That'll be another pretty cool video.
Wire brush.
Okay, pull this out of the way and wire brush that terminal there. Probably go this way with it. See how much of that you can get cleaned up.
Is that copper?
Yeah. Yep, that is copper. And the part that you're mainly wanting to get cleaned up is the nut itself. That's where the contact is going to be made. Okay, that's probably good. I'm going to jump in. Okay, she's got it pretty good. I'm just going to jump in here with some emery cloth and see if I can polish the surface of this nut up just a little bit. I remember I ordered a starter relay for this now, and when I got it, I ended up trying to use it on something else and it was defective. The thing was perma-crank. Okay, we're going to stick this back together now. Let's see.
So the ground thing?
The ground's off. Okay. Come on, stick on there. Somehow, this thing is not working all the time. What the hell's going on here? Okay, we got juice there, but we still don't have juice there. We got it there. We got it there. But we don't. Yep, we got it there. Okay. It should light up. There we go.
Okay, so that means it's getting there?
Yep, we got juice there.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to bump the starter button just to see if she's going to turn. Nothing. Well, let's see where we don't have juice in here.
Tester?
Yeah, I just want to double check. You know what? We might not have a ground. We should check for ground.
How do you check for ground?
Let's see, we got lots of juice there. Okay. So to check for ground, we're going to put this over on the positive side. We're just going to go to the engine block and see if we get anything. Nope, we get something, so we do have ground. Okay, there's a ground strap right here. Yep, we got it there. We got it there. The body's grounded. Okay.
So we go now to the starter.
We're gonna go to the inside and see where we're losing our power.
Guys, out.
Okay. So our main power
Charlie, out.
doesn't have anything to it. I'm gonna grab that little socket set.
Yep.
This should be our main power lead. I don't know if I'm getting a good ground, but I'm not showing any power here. So why would that be? Should be our solenoid wire.
Was it relay transmission? Is that the other word for the solenoid?
No, starter relay.
Starter
The
relay.
brakes are still up. I think that is why I had that other wire ran. I think I lost use to this wire, and it's funny, the things that just quit when they sit. This thing sat for about 40 years when I got it, and I didn't have any issues with the wiring. Then I moved it one day so we could mow the lawn or something and shut it off, and it sat for 4 or 5 years. Never started again. I don't know if I'm getting good ground here. What can I get a good ground from?
I was going to say the starter switch.
Starter switch is right here.
This one.
The ignition one?
Yeah, the ignition thingy.
Okay, I am getting power to it. Light is coming on. So, we do have power here. I might have to take this ignition switch apart and work on it.
Doesn't the key have to be turned?
No. If you can flip the switch, the key's in the right position. Okay, we got juice there. I got juice there. Okay, that is juice to the starter button. No, it's not. Where is the juice coming from for the starter button? Right here, I think. Yep. Wiggle those connections around. Okay. That must not be getting through to the other end.
So we're getting it into the cab, into the wires underneath.
Yep. What I'm gonna need you to do, what I'm gonna do here, move these tools out of the way. Put this guy back on, verify it, we got power. Okay. We got, what I need you to do, go in there and push that button.
Okay.
It's not running.
What are you doing?
Just flipping the switch back and forth. Can you hand me that standard screwdriver? Well, it's no good now.
Whoa. Is that the culprit?
Might be. I'll have another one of those. What's that noise?
Sounds like spark.
It is spark, but where's it coming from over there? Here, do that, drag these across.
Okay. Like this, right?
No. This wire right here.
Oh, with which
This
one?
wire.
This one?
Yep.
This here? Oh yeah. So you found it to be the...
Well, we're getting juice all the way back to the starter relay here now, but the starter relay is just making a weird little sound. It acts like it's just not getting enough voltage. So, I'm hoping if we clean these terminals up, that actually looks really good.
Oh, take it out?
I don't think that solenoid or that relay's working. Well, it might if I had the battery cable hooked up, huh? It's got juice.
So you electrocute yourself? That's how it happens?
I'll just jump her across here. Ah.
But I see sparks.
Yeah. It's starter relay's no good. From the battery cable to the S terminal on the relay, that stands for starter, that should engage that starter relay and make it work. It's not. So that means that this is defective. I got some other issues that I'm chasing down. So I put an electric fuel pump on this thing and it doesn't seem to be coming on, so I don't know what's going on there. Whether it went bad from sitting or what the deal is. But that's all we're going to be able to do today, because we need a starter relay, and the one that I ordered was defective. I didn't buy the cheap one either. I bought I think it was 26 bucks or something. And as soon as you hook the battery cables up, it's cranking over, whether there's anything else hooked to it or not. So we're going to do one other little test here. I could get this thing fired up and running without this, but we need a whole list of parts now and a new starter button. That disintegrated. It obviously wasn't working. We'll disconnect this again. I'll go look around, see if I can find another one somewhere, but look that back up. And we're just gonna see if the starter works. Starter works. Well, we're going to go wander around and see if we can find another starter relay. Wish us luck. So we were diagnosing this thing, getting ready to see if we can get it fired up. The starter relay seems to not be functioning. We're like a long ways from town, so I just went out to my boneyard and grabbed another one off of one that I had fired up a couple years ago. So this one worked a couple years ago. We'll hope it still works.
When do you connect those wires to it?
I'm connecting them right now.
Oh, okay.
Just connected the starter wire. This is the lead that goes from the starter relay down to the starter. Let me go ahead and connect the one to the button.
Even though we have no button.
Yeah, it's still functional circuit though. We just have to touch the wires together.
Okay. Kind of like hot wiring.
Kind of like hot wiring.
Ooh, I'm turning into a friggin' desperado hanging out with you.
Well, truth be known, that's basically the way you started these trucks. Funny story is, I drove this thing to one of our local watering holes one time, and a couple of friends of mine were in there, and they were like, "Oh, that's a cool truck. Can I drive it?" And I'm like, "Sure, go ahead." So they all went running outside to get in the truck, and bartender says, "Them guys are really drunk. It's probably not a good idea to let them drive it." And I'm like, "They'll never figure out how to start it." Sure enough, they never figured it out. Okay, this one goes here, but we're going to have to put our battery back in. Jeez, how many dang washers on that thing? Yeah, one can go there. Oops, almost tripped over the battery. What the heck, I just had this battery in there.
Is there a screw or something down there?
Yeah, here's a screwdriver.
Ah,
Hey,
it's better,
amazing.
doesn't it? Hmm.
And we don't need that flat washer on there. It's just one more thing to gather corrosion. Okay.
That's better.
Winner, winner. Chicken dinner. Okay, now we're going to test the circuit to see if we got fire to the ignition. Again, we're going to verify that our light's working. All right, let's see. This is the one going there. So, okay, nothing there right at the minute. Let's turn the ignition switch on. And hey, we're getting juice to it. All right. Well, let's check and make sure. Next thing I'm going to do is check and make sure that my points aren't all corroded up and that we're getting spark before we try to throw any fuel in this thing. So what we got to do is pull the distributor cap off.
Pretty clean in there.
It's got some corrosion. This thing could use a new distributor cap. It's got brass contacts though, which is good. Okay, we're gonna pull the coil wire, maybe. Pull the coil wire out. Find a nice little place to rest him somewhere. This always ends up shocking me. Let's put him back here. Maybe. No. What we want to do is keep this about a 1/4 inch away from the block or another metal surface. Actually, right there will probably work. And we're going to pull the rotor off. Now, on these flathead V8s, the rotor is actually bigger than the shaft. And I don't know if I can even get you guys in here to see this. Right here, there's a little clip that goes on the shaft. A lot of times these clips will fall off when you pull the rotor off and they break, they get lost, whatever. Then the rotor fits on there really loose and you can't keep correct timing on it. I am not sure where to get those, but I do know that they were the same on the 292s, 312s, 232 6-cylinders, and a lot of like the Ford industrial engines all had that little piece on there. So I have found a few of these over the years and I've got kind of a little stockpile of them, but that's a pretty important little piece. I have seen people shim it with a piece of beer can and get away with it. Anyway, we're going to go on and check the points here. First, we're going to do a visual on them. Just look at them. And they look horrible, so that's good. We're going to kick these points open. Oh, look at that. We got a little bit of spark.
I heard that.
But not very good.
Looks like it needs a clean.
So we're going to clean this contact spot right here. Don't forget to put your rotor back in. Actually, I need to do some cleaning. We need a new cap and rotor for this thing. It's never had one since I've owned it. Don't buy cheap emery cloth. I bought a big roll of 100-foot roll of emery cloth for $6 or something. I thought, well, that'll work. The darn sand just comes right off of it. Emery, or whatever it's called. Let's dump a little bit of fuel in here. Maybe. Put some in the float bowl. Probably got her completely flooded now, that's good. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Ooh.
Always had a problem starting this truck. So, this is what I'm going to do.
You said you always had a problem starting this truck?
Yeah. Switching it over from 6-volt positive ground to 12-volt negative ground. The ignition, the starter actually draws juice where it used to draw off the ground side. So when you crank on them, they don't put juice to the ignition system. You only get juice when you let off the crank. So I'm going to change that on this truck.
What's going through that mind?
Oh, I need another nut for right there. So on the starter relay, there's the S, which stands for start or starter button, solenoid, whatever. Then there's an I terminal. The I terminal is for ignition. So this, if I hook a wire from here to the positive side of my coil, I bypass the ballast resistor and go to the coil. In the start mode, that's going to be shooting 12 volts to this coil to give it a little boost. And start, as soon as the starter relay quits spinning, it breaks that 12 volt circuit and it'll be drawn from the 6 volts off the relay. So I'm gonna go see if I can find another nut for the S or the I terminal on the relay. Another little splash. I hate these gas cans.
Battery's not going to make it.
Battery's dead. Let's see what happens with more juice to it. Probably primed it already, didn't I?
You did, but doesn't that stuff evaporate? Doesn't gasoline evaporate?
I got her dripping out, so she's got too much.
Is that a good thing? I always thought flooding was not a good thing. baby.
You hear it from back there. When I start it up again, and you can go back there with the camera.
Why are you jacking up the engine?
Because the fuel pump is under the cab. The front end of this sits a lot lower than the back end does, and the front tires are low and sunk in. So I'll get more out of it if I jack the front up. Well, we ended up having to replace the electric fuel pump. Sat too long, guess the gas went bad, froze it up. So I had another one laying around. Not quite happy with it. It's a different model, but it got it running. So here she is running. They purr like a kitten. This thing's been sitting for I don't know, 5 or 6 years. It'll idle her up a little bit until she warms up. So I'm showing pretty low vacuum. Usually I got a lot better vacuum than that, so I gotta do some work here. Well, that'll make a difference right there. That's a big vacuum leak. That gauge is plugged in right. Well, that sounds a lot better. Now let's see what the old vacuum gauge says. Oh yeah. She says she's where she's supposed to be. Uh-oh. Nothing sounds like a flathead. These things just sound so good. Oh, now she's gonna die. It's on that side or the other side. Yeah, I can smell it. That's why it's idling down a little bit rough. There she is. See if it needs any of that. I'll be back.
She sounds great, baby. So
Yeah, we gotta get some air. Well, we're gonna take her for its first drive in, I don't know, I can't remember. It's been 5 or 6 years since it was on the road, and it was only because I had issues that I just now got around to fixing. But anyway, let's see how she starts. One of the things we gotta do is put a new starter button in. So I just gotta touch 2 wires together. Seems to start okay. Clutch still feels okay. Clank, 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 clank. Like I said, I tore the transmission out of this thing. She's missing some teeth on first gear. Pump's a little dried out. She's got a little stumble there, so not a big deal. It might come back around. I got some speed goodies to put on this thing. I got a set of higher compression heads, twin carb intake manifold that I'm going to put on here. So I'll be getting those carburetors when they go on. I'm not concerned about it right now. Hey, good looking. Need a lift?
anytime with you.